guys, welcome to a recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, episode 16, The Reunion. I'm gonna call this, is this episode verifiable? Because my thoughts of this episode of this reunion so far, I don't know. It's a little bit lukewarm. It's 50-50 for me, but it can get better. This reunion, it's been reduced from being three parts to two. So next week is going to be pretty much the wrap up of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, which is shocking because usually they get three parts, but that is typically because we have stuff to talk about. Now, overall, this season has been lackluster. People who usually give us the drama wasn't giving, and then the people who are never giving wants to carry the drama. So let's get into this recap. But first, I gotta mention the fashions. I, honest opinion, did not like the ladies' outfits. I'm sorry. I feel like we shouldn't all have to match, wear the same colors to show that we're doing a reunion together. I feel like they should wear complementary colors or be on some sort of on the same page in terms of style or theme, rather opposed to take the safe route and just all come in the same color. I felt like it was getting very amateur, very childlike. Like, you know how you want your kids to dress in the same color to show, oh, they match. But if you really want to do the fashion, pick a mood, pick a theme, and let the ladies come into their own variation of that thought. I felt like it was very amateur hour. I'm sorry, Kenya. Kenya always looks stunning to me, but the feathers was not doing it for me, honey. For some reason, it was doing too much. It was giving boob, it was giving feathers, it was giving body yaddy yaddy. It was just no one was doing it for me. But let's get into this reunion. So the setting is pretty much based on the Portugal trip with Sheree. So it's everything is about Zen, 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 Zen. Now Sheree sits right next to Andy, and I felt like Sheree made me laugh this episode, this reunion. I felt, reminiscent of the old Real Housewives of Atlanta. Do I feel like, she can come back and do what she's doing right now? No, because I think I will get bored. But for what it was something, okay? Sheree had a lot of iconic little moments in the reunion, even so much that you could tell that Andy is like, oh, I'm keeping this for the clubhouse. Like, he was already taking some takeaways, the She News article. He's already planning where to put that in his clubhouse. And typically I feel like the ladies, the Real Housewives, from all the franchise, they all like to like bring in their props to hopefully make it into an iconic moment that will land them a spot in the clubhouse, which will cement a special little heart in Andy Cohen and maybe have an effect in their pay, that they'll get some sort of favoritism. But a lot of hit and miss. We've seen like Andy clearly be like, no, this is not gonna get to the clubhouse. But this, you could tell he was very tickled by Sheree's She News moment. And let's talk about it a little bit. I feel like Sheree and Candy are going at it again. Why? I don't know. But I feel like it's all play for Sheree because I feel like Sheree is quick to let things go until like someone comes for her or has something to say about her. So the She News, which was, created by Sheree, pretty much focused on Candy and tearing down Candy and her businesses. So it was like a couple of pages that was dedicated on bad reviews by Candy's businesses, her restaurants, her tag boutiques. And Candy does not play when it comes to her business. So she was ready to defend and say that she's been a business, her tag been a business, or her boutique been a business for over 14 years. And she has never advertised herself to sell unique off the runway pieces. She finds off label, puts her tag on it, and marks up the price. She's saying what she's doing, and the people are still buying, still buying. They're buying for convenience. They don't have to wait for their orders to come through from another country. She knows her market. She knows where her interest. Now, where Candy goes for Sheree, she lets Sheree know that Sheree, you had like all these styles that you had debuted to the audience, but we don't even see it on your platform. Now, Sheree is so bothered to why Candy is bothered that her fashions are not up for purchase. But I feel like Sheree, people are rooting for you. Your brand has been a brand that resonated with the audience from the beginning, before it was even a thing. So I'm hoping, soon she will come to turn a profit. She let us know that she hasn't turned a profit from She by Sheree. And, she says usually profit doesn't turn around for 2 to 3 years. But, honey, girl, everyone is rooting for you on this brand. One positive I do have to say is that she did come through with a bag for Drew, okay? She shut down Drew crying and whining about a bag from She by Sheree. Sheree, she delivered that bag. The bag looked nice. I want a bag too. But Sheree, you really just have to be consistent. I feel like she gets motivated to do something once the girls get on her, and then she delivers. But we need you to have that energy consistently, okay? That's what I need from Sheree. Okay. Now, the whole issue with the She News for Kenya, at least, is that she was not on the cover. And I loved the shadiness between Sheree and Kenya, because Sheree was like, "Oh, I couldn't find a good picture of you." When Kenya, she's stunning. She takes plentiful of stunning photos. So it was funny that Sheree was like, "Oh, I couldn't find one photo I could really use to put on my She News." But hopefully we get a in addition, second installment of She News. I kind of love it as a thing, but I don't know. Sheree. I feel like Sheree could be a whole moment if she wanted to. Now, the whole big issue, big commotion in this reunion is the ladies addressing Sheree's plastic surgery. I feel like we pulling at straws. But I honestly, we did need to address her change of appearance mid-season in her confessionals, where she clearly looked significantly different. Her face looked so puffy, and we wanted to understand what was the reason. So we learned that mid-season, she by Sheree decided it was the best time to get a little tweaking done to her nose. Now, it was not initially the first priority in mind. The reason why she had a nose job done was she had issues with breathing. So she told the doctor, you might as well do some little nip and tuck here and there. But I felt like Sheree didn't need it at all. These women are beautiful, and I feel like, if they like it, I love it, but they didn't need it in the first place for me. That was not necessary for her to do. Now, Sheree also had to address her situation with Martell. We learned that, she's a little bit distancing herself from Martell. I think she's even mentions that, it was just too much smoke going on, and she chose herself, which I feel like is a good thing for Sheree, because Sheree has been in so many toxic situations where I'm happy where she's able to vocalize and say that she is choosing herself, that she loves herself, that therefore she's no longer continuing on that relationship with Martell. Now, her issue was with the judgment that she was receiving from Kenya, as if Kenya had a man. So Sheree shaded Kenya, saying that, the reason why you acted like that because you didn't have anybody, so why don't you find somebody, instead of coming for her and her dating life, because everyone has those struggles. It's actually hard dating out here. And, Drew, she chimed in on that, and she was relating a little bit too much, to the point I'm like, girl, what do you mean? Are you out here already dating? And it could have been, looked at in two ways. It could have been like, oh, maybe Drew is dating, or maybe Drew is saying like dating relationship wise, just relationship as a whole with her husband, marriage, is hard. So I was looking at her sideways, but I was, taking in that tea. Sanya, she clocked it real quick too. She's like, yeah, it's gonna be really hard for you soon, Drew. So yeah, so Kenya, her response in this, I understood it. Yeah, it's hard out here for these women to date. I don't know what the quality man that they have access to. I don't think it should be, but it just so happens to be. And I feel like, they don't have to tear each other down. I do agree And I do feel like with Marlo and Sheree, they were right about this. I feel like there's a time and place in how you come with information. I do not feel like Kenya should have said to Sheree after she got serious with Martell that, oh, that he slid in her DMs. I feel like that could should have came up when you knew they were casually dating, when it was a casual thing. So Sheree could be informed and make a decision whether or not she wants to get serious with this man. Because you know Sheree's history, okay? If Sheree was my friend, and I know my friend went through so much toxic situation, if I get an inkling that the man is not moving right, I would let my friend know so she could be well informed to make a decision. Because even in this end of this season, the whole situation with Bob, where he's withholding information because he feels like Sheree's on a need to know basis, that's crazy. I saw like how the parallels to that situation to, Sheree, her friends withholding information and dropping it in the worst possible timing when they're serious. I didn't get it. I didn't like that. But I have love for Kenya some more. But in that moment, she could have been a better friend, okay? I feel like she could have been a better friend, okay? Now, we did get in a little bit more about the situation with Bob. Um, uh, I all I can say is that situation was very, very, very tacky. But it seemed like Sheree, she paid no mind to it. She is over that man, and I think good. Okay, it's no longer her problems. Okay, so I was happy for Miss Sheree, and she had her moment. And her moment. Interesting enough, I could get why she sat so close to Andy, because whatever she was going through tied in with a lot of the other ladies. Like she had issues with Kenya, she had issues with Candy, she has issues with Drew. So I just felt like, from all that so far, Sheree was really holding the season up for this season, okay? She was really, carrying, being the bone carrier, doing everything that needs to be done for a housewife situation. But for some reason, for us, we're not like click. Some of the plots we done, we tired with it, okay? Now let's go and focus over on Drew. Drew. Sheree had the first half. Drew has second half, okay? We get a little bit a sneak peek about Drew and her situation and what's going on. And at the time of filming the reunion, she is still not on good terms with her situation. But is she gonna get into it in the reunion? No, I don't think so. Partly because she wants to protect her kids, as she should. She doesn't want it to be a negative thing where she's saying all these things on national television that's going to be recorded for her kids to see one day. So she is mindful of that. But at the same time, I feel like it's not a good example of her to just lie on the stage. For what? If I think she should really stand in her truth, because she is proving herself to be a liar. We all know what had happened with Latoya, but she still wants to maintain that these girls are blind. Okay? These girls are blind. And it has worked on to some of the girls like Marlo, because Marlo, she went back, she said 80% because Drew put it on her kids. Now I can understand that this is something that could be harmful for a marriage, especially if it's not something that's been okayed or talked about. But to gaslight the ladies, Candy called it on the head, because the way that Drew was talking back to these ladies as if they were in their delulu, it confirmed to Candy and now to me that, Drew is also the bad guy too in this situation. She must gaslight Ralph. Those two are both gaslighters. They be gassing each other up. So that was like a moment for in the reunion. I felt like that was a good moment, and you could see Drew in her delulu saying to Candy, "Are we good?" When clearly they're not good, and Andy says clearly you are not good with Candy if she's now on Ralph's side. Hmm. Woo! 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 We did have a moment where Kenya, she did apologize to Drew for calling her production low, like low budget. on that she should have been a better friend. But I felt like this apology could have gone to Sheree. Okay, you could have been a better friend to Sheree too as well. Now we did get to see a little bit of what was going on with Kenya and her salon, but it was briefly referenced, and I don't feel like how we're gonna come back and talk about anything with Kenya. I felt like right now we only had a moment with Sheree. We know next episode gonna be all about Drew, and this episode too a little bit about Drew. With Candy, pretty much what they got into with Candy this episode is pretty much the situation with Drew and how she's so booked and busy that they ask Andy questions whether or not she still wants to be a part of this, which makes me wonder, honey, who's gonna come back next season? Okay, well, aside from all that drama, Mona was here and there for some shade. She gave us a little bit of shady moments. She chimed into a lot of situations. But I felt like, we didn't really get much of Marlo this episode, aside for her little back and forth with Kenya. But it wasn't really what I'm doing, I completely forgot. Child, Marlo got served a subpoena that was so blank. That was blank. Okay, I forgot about this one. This moment went through my head. So we learned from Kenya that apparently Marlo has contacted Mark, Kenya Moore's ex-husband, at some point, trying to get some tea. Apparently, Marlo did deny it, but she is being subpoenaed in court to help Miss Kenya Summer Moore. And the reason why is because we learned, well, we already knew this, is that Kenya is still not divorced, but honey, Mark is dragging the hell out of this. So Mark has brought some charges against Miss Kenya Summer Moore, saying that she put Brooklyn in danger when Marlo banged on um, Kenya's door in Birmingham, Alabama. I completely forgot about that. So yeah, you know, the subpoena was blank, but she will be getting the real thing. So if Marlo wants to be held in contempt of court and not show up and not be a no-show, she can be and go back to jail, as Kenya informed her. But I feel like Marlo's gonna show up. She don't want to go to jail no more. We did get an update that, Marlo Hampton has bumped and grind with Scott Lee. They are still seeing each other, it's still a thing, but they haven't met each other's kids. So they're still on, getting to know each other basis. Okay. So maybe we'll see more, maybe not. I don't know. Now, we had our friend of showed up in this episode. And I felt like that's quite quick. Usually we see them in the second part. But everything is, shortened down because the season wasn't giving. So we did get to see Miss Moneta and Courtney. Now, Moneta, she was giving us all the energy, all that rah-rah, and I'm like, girl, what was that energy during the season, okay? What did they contribute? Well, pretty much, Moneta, she's making her mission to pretty much chime in on the Courtney and Drew situation. And, Courtney was not having it whatsoever. Remember, Courtney had a slip up. She thought that they weren't filming, and she started talking about the situation with Ralph and Drew. Now, what really got it popping was Drew checking Courtney about Courtney talking about her son. And Drew gets really mad. I saw Chicago in her. I saw the Chicago in her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Drew, Chicago, chill. Okay? So I don't know, Courtney. I don't feel like Courtney. Nobody really wants you here, sweetie. This is not your show. This is not your time. Andy was polite and made her feel welcome, but when she came in to that reunion, no one paid her no mind, gave her no compliments to her dress, and it was so awkward for me. But we know we all saw it. Okay, so guys, I want to know what you guys think of this reunion so far. Next episode, they should really be getting into some things because Ralph is making his appearance. He is showing up. So I want to hear what he has to say. Okay? I want to hear what he has to say. Hopefully he has something to say. Please have something to say because you guys are really killing us. But based on the preview did give, so hopefully we'll be into something. So guys, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, share as much kindness as possible. I love you guys and thank you for joining the ride with me. Peace. Bye guys.